Hello, I'm happy to report that I've been Instagram free for at least the past 6 months, maybe even more, because honestly, I've lost count. Let me tell you why I'm Instagram free and how. So first things first, the primary reason why I'm Instagram free is that I think that Instagram is a horrible place to share photographs or even videos. I mean, when it started, you could only share photos that were in a square format, and that meant that either you had to crop things to a ridiculous amount, or you were in the absurd situation of having to add white space around your photos. Now, obviously then they started accepting more and more sort of aspect ratios for photos, but even recently when I tried to upload or I tried to share like a vertical photo, I still had to cut off the top and bottom, which is absurd. I'm not a fan of this design for addiction ethos that Instagram has, basically sacrificing the integrity of the images that it shares just in the name of more time spent on the app. And I mean, it's pretty transparent when you think about it. So like I said, vertical photos or portrait photos get cut off, but what about video? Vertical video doesn't get cut off, right? It fills up the whole screen. Why not photos? Well, it's obvious that the reason is that video in an immersive vertical format is going to hold your attention and keep your eyeballs on Instagram for longer, while a photo that is, similarly immersive in the portrait orientation basically prevents, as you're scrolling, prevents more content from being shown or from being teased as you scroll, which means less impressions and maybe for Instagram, less opportunities to serve up ads. And really that's, great for Instagram, but terrible for me as a user. And at the end of the day, I wasn't born yesterday. I've shared photos, starting in the early 2000s with Flickr, Blogger, even more recently Tumblr. And all those platforms are perfectly fine for sharing photos. They respect the format that you're sharing in, and it functions perfectly well for that purpose. The kind of hilarious situation is that if you want to share a photo in its original format, Threads, which is Instagram's Twitter clone, is actually a much better option, as well obviously as Blue Sky. So those are better alternatives to kind of share photos specifically, especially since Instagram has now very publicly done a pivot to video kind of in response to TikTok, and that's been already ongoing for several years. At the end of the day, though, it's also just the algorithmic kind of hell that Instagram has become, right? The concept of gentrification is very much alive and well and seems to be the modus operandi of Instagram and other Meta products. So essentially, once a network effect has been achieved, meaning that a majority of users is on there and it's painful to switch away, then the service and the platform becomes more and more hostile and harmful to its users, initially for the benefit of advertisers, but at the end, even the advertisers get screwed, and we're probably at that stage now, where essentially Meta's screwing both its users and its advertisers. And having worked in marketing, I believe that and sort of hearing from people in the marketing space about reach, that is very much the case, meaning that Instagram is an increasingly frustrating experience even in the advertising world. So those are some of the reasons why I chose to stop using Instagram. Now, I still have an Instagram account, but initially what I did was to, first of all, remove all my photos from my Instagram account. I kept it because there's some people that I'm still in touch with on there. So yeah, that was a factor. But then the key thing that I did, and this is something to be very aware of, because essentially I took one of Instagram's design principles and kind of reversed it for my own benefit. Instagram and Meta are all about removing friction, meaning that to get onto the app, to browse it, they try to remove friction, meaning that, you know, you're logged in, everything pops up immediately. So what did I do? I logged out. My Instagram on my phone was logged out by default, meaning that every time I opened it, I had to log in. And just that extra step, adding back that friction, meant that it made me think about how I used it, meaning that instead of going on there to browse aimlessly, to scroll, doom scroll, envy scroll, whatever you want to call it, instead of that, I just went in there to check a few things and then I left. And every time I had to log in, I had to make the conscious effort of logging in and the conscious effort of logging out. Guess what? Every time Instagram was prompting me to save my login details. Why? Because obviously Meta knows that if you remove that obstacle, then they're more likely to get you addicted, to get you dependent, and to get you basically, you know, get your eyeballs on Instagram for as much as possible. And you don't even realize that you're just wasting your time on there and harming yourself. Because I truly do believe that Instagram and Facebook and other Meta products are actively designed to be harmful. Not for the sake of, you know, because any kind of evil reason per se, although that could be argued, but because of the obsession that Meta has with growth. Meta wants more, always more. They want more time on the platform, more things viewed, more things posted. That's the only thing that they care about. And they will stop at nothing to get to that goal. And obviously that's brought them a lot of success, right? They're a billion-dollar company. They have billions of users, even though I think most people on those platforms are unhappy about what they bring to their life. But it's just the complete lack of awareness and the complete lack of care about people's well-being that defines Meta as a company that's just obsessed with growth at all costs. And I mean, you can see that really. There's several US states that have sued Meta for the harm that they've caused. Even Meta's own internal testing pointed to the benefits of, for example, removing likes from Instagram on the well-being of the teenage audience. And that study showed that for a very small drop, a very small drop in engagement, there was a real tangible benefit to users' well-being by just removing likes or like counts. That was kiboshed by Zuckerberg, I believe. And basically it seems like Meta engineers, when they're talking about new features or changes, they are coached when they're presenting to the executive team to not present things in terms of good or bad or in moral terms, but rather in terms of what interests the company. And you know what? I don't want to be someone, I don't want to be a user of products that are designed or services that are designed in that way. Additionally, since Instagram is obviously owned by Meta, Meta's behavior is really pretty abhorrent. I mean, I know that that's what I've been talking about, but you have like very specific cases, notably Facebook. So obviously it's not Instagram, but it's still, the same company. Facebook very much contributed to some extreme violence in Myanmar, and they did basically the complete minimum to kind of minimize that once they were called out on it. And that's the thing, it's always once they're called out on it. It's never proactive. And once kind of they did that for show, they then kind of reverted back. They were accused of basically pushing false information, inciting violence at a huge scale, and causing harm to an entire country. So again, that's the people who are defining the strategy of products like Instagram. I'd rather not contribute to that in any way, or be part of their user experiments, kind of dark UX, as I like to call it. And so what have I done instead? Well, I have now my own website, and that's where I share my photos, my videos, my writing. That's the other thing. I get to define how things appear. I get to choose what I share, when I share it, how it's shared. And while the goal isn't to get a big following, it's just to express myself, based on the very basic metrics that I have, I can see that I think I have more reach than I did on Instagram, which is very encouraging and gratifying. And it's something that I've built myself at the end of the day, right? I put it together myself. I designed it myself to a great extent. Obviously, I'm using a platform to share that information or to publish and things like that. But it's nothing like Instagram. It's very light. It's very customizable, and I feel that I'm in control. And it's on the web. There's no login. It's just there. There are no cookies. You can just go on it. Mamotreco.com. That's it. Like, quick plug there. So, yeah, that to me is a much better alternative to Instagram. So yeah, a little bit of an off-the-cuff video, but yeah, thank you so much for listening, and take care.